need to discuss. We are very disturbed by the remarks that were made by the US Secretary Treasury while she was in the country yesterday, where she alleged that China was not cooperating in the creditors committee where we're supposed to write off debt. Here is a simple background. Zambia owes about $14.8 billion. A third of that, which is about $6 billion, $5.9 billion, is owed to China. So China is the single largest creditor to Zambia's foreign debt. The IMF have given us this IMF bailout package of $1.3 billion, but it is conditional. First, they want our debt reformed, restructured, so that we'll be able to pay the current debt that the IMF will give us. They want us to have a headroom, what they call headroom, that we can implement projects. They think that we are spending more money on debt service. So they started a program to restructure our debt. What can happen in the restructure of debt? Number one, the repayment schedules can be spread over many years from the current system. The second item is debt forgiveness, where the creditors can forgive our debts. This is an initiative by the IMF which has been conditioned on the IMF bailout. Now, China is not part of this process, but China so far has cooperated. They came on board to the creditors committee because China is a sovereign state, like we are. They can decide when to forgive our debt or not, when to negotiate with our debt. They thought that this matter could be done at bilateral level. But the process that President Hakainde Hichilema has taken is a process that has involved the IMF, and the creditors committee now is speaking to all the creditors, including China. In fact, the chair is France on behalf of Paris Club, Eurobond and other creditors. And China is the co-chair to the process. So the statement by Janet Yellen, US Secretary Treasury, that China is not cooperating is totally unfortunate. Because what should happen is, in the bilateral meeting between President Hakainde Hichilema and the US government, they should discuss US-Zambia relations. They shouldn't discuss third parties. China was not represented in that meeting. We don't know the side of China. We don't know the details of China on this matter. We don't know the policies of China on this creditors committee. So you cannot twist them or rush them or pace them at your pace. The remarks were unfortunate. In diplomacy, that is not done. You don't discuss a third party, especially if they are not present. You create volatility unnecessarily. Our warning to President Hakainde Hichilema is that he should not place himself as a pawn between these superpowers. The debt that Zambia has with China should be negotiated with China. If there are delays, if there are problems, we should go to China, not to America, to discuss Zambia's debt. China is an all-weather friend to this country. They built the Tazara when they were not a wealthy nation. Tazara was the largest single project in the world during the time of construction. It cost $465 million in 1970. I don't know how much billions those are. They built Tazara at their own cost over a 40-year loan. It has been 40 years and we've still never paid a single ngwe for Tazara. China has been with us. The huge infrastructure projects we did in the power projects, look at the Kafue Gorge, it was China that funded us. Abasungu abalanda fe chisungu tabatupele ndalama. China alafumye ndalama. Bane mulefu omusebo ishindalama. Bane mulefu eskulu ishindalama. The Western society is rushing to China because China is a large, is a growing economy and it has disposable income for project. Another matter that I want to react to is remarks by President Hakainde Hichilema, where he said these loans, by the way, these loans were motivated by corruption. That statement is unfortunate and for me is arising from ignorance. The benefits that Zambia got from the Chinese loans is very simple. These loans were coordinated by the African Union. We have what is called the FOCAC, which is a forum for China and Africa. It's called FOCAC, a Forum for China and Africa Cooperation. The largest loans were coordinated by this entity. There's $60 billion in 2015 and another $60 billion in 2018. Then China has its own flagship program for the world, and especially for Africa. It's called Belt Road Initiative, BRI, where they are building trade routes. So they will help you with airports, they will help you with harbors, they will help you with roads, so that your trade environment is easier. If you are importing and exporting to China, it is easier for their goods. It's for their own benefit. So they flagged off these multi-billion-dollar projects where they're building harbors, airports, roads, bridges. Name them anything to do with facilitation of trade. So the project is called Belt Road Initiative. So for President Hakainde Hichilema to say that these loans by Zambia were motivated by corruption just doesn't understand that actually Zambia is a mere beneficiary to these projects. One, the FOCAC project, the other one, the BRI project. Yes, we have bilateral projects that we seek as a country, but you will see uniform stadiums, you will see uniform roads, uniform airports. Sorry, we want to acquire, but we are not in your way. Thank you very much. But that was the purpose of those. If there was any corruption, you prosecute the corruption. Don't scandalize nation. But President, you are not the only president of this country. Another president will emerge. Maybe I will be president, I will replace you. So don't destroy things for us. Work like your predecessors did. President Kenneth Kaunda, we are still benefiting from the relations he built with China, with Russia, and with the US. President Frederick Chiluba, he left a legacy. We are building on it. President Mwanawasa, he left a legacy, built relationship. We have the Levi Mwanawasa Hospital and Levi Mwanawasa Stadium in Ndola because of his initiative and his enhancement of relationship with China. President Rupia Banda, look at most of the schools. He began, by the way, the Mongu Kalabo Road, which the PF then took over and finished. Look at President Michael Sata. His Link Zambia project, and he linked it to the facilitation we're getting from China under BRI and under FOCAC. And he developed roads, bridges, we have airports. Our other relations that were built by President Edgar Lungu. Look at the district hospitals. It came from UK. The mini hospitals, the health center 650 came from India. The teaching hospitals came from China. That's what a president does. A president must build on the legacy of his predecessors, not destroy the legacy of his predecessors. In this case, President Hakainde Hichilema is destroying relations for us. So with those few remarks, I would like to thank you for working with us here at the IMF. We've delivered our letter. I'm releasing that letter to the media. You can have a copy. You can come to my inbox. I'll share our letter and I'll publish it on my page. So God bless you. Thank you for working with us, and let this country prosper. Let's build this country. This is a wealthy country. There is no need for the level of unemployment. There is no need for the poverty that is existing, because we are a rich nation. We are only poor by choice, by corruption, by theft, and by level of short-sightedness, like we are seeing in President Hakainde Hichilema. So God bless you, and see you next time.